Today, flood comes to my bush encampment. I am one man against the tide. I fight to protect my encampment against the rising waters and to form a safe zone for myself.
Hello, people of the world. It's been a bit wet lately. Now, in light of the recent storms in the past few days, because there has been a few, there's been some very heavy winds as well. So, because of that, it's caused a few branches and stuff to fall, and a casualty here at the storage tent. It seems the wind has got up from the underneath, and it's tore off one of the corners. So that has been completely ripped to shreds. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to nail it down a bit more in all different areas, so the wind can't get under it as much and rip it off. So we're going to quickly fix that before we get in today's real project. As you can now see here, the storage tent, well and truly fixed. This tent, it just has bad luck. Okay, this tent just has bad luck. This is the second time it's broken now. First time it was the rope and now it was the back half. I guess it's just in a pretty crappy situation. But that's okay, we'll keep fixing this thing for the time being. But there will come a day where I'm going to stop repairing things and let nature take its course. But that day is not today, so I guess the storage tent lives to see another day. I will say the new gym tent, in its first ever storm, pretty much the day I put it up, the storm started hitting pretty soon after I put it up. It's held up pretty well, I'd say. It's got a slight little curve, and I guess in this area, but that's a good thing. That's a good sign, because that means it's developed a natural way for the water to run off without tearing the thing in half. So, you know, that's great news. Anyways, it's time we get across the creek to an area we haven't quite been in a while, to set up a tent in an area of the bush I've never done before. So this is going to be just a one-off thing. I'm not expanding over the creek at all, but I'm just doing this one tent, and I'll explain it all when we're over there. But first, I want to quickly show a bit of the signs and impacts of the erosion that's happening due to the recent floods, and my concerns with it, as it is starting to become a very noticeable issue. And to do this, we're going to switch back to the good old first-person perspective. I haven't done that in a while, just because it's easier to show it and explain it that way. We come down here. You know, this is where we get the water down the creek. This is what it's looking like after, recent floods. There's our little water meter right there. Now, that's usually where we get the water. Usually, this area here used to be a lot higher. All along here used to be a lot higher up. Now, it's completely eroded away just in recent floods at the beginning of the year. Now, as you can imagine, that's not good. The rate that these little edges that I use near the creek to get water, and even to get across down there, they're eroding away quickly, and the signs are getting really noticeable. And you may be thinking, why is that a problem? Well, I'll tell you why that is a problem. Now, if you look down here, you'll see how the water is most certainly eroding things away. Especially, most notably, right here. What's happening right here? So, start of the year, the floods cut through down there. Now it's starting to cut through down here. That's going to cut off this section here. That's going to get taken away by the water. That means this section of the bridge gets taken out too. This area, this little island here, is also slowly being taken out by this little stream down here. That means this section gets taken out too. This area of the creek becomes like that area of the creek. Therefore, I can't cross anymore. And I kind of need to cross the creek to film at my bush encampment. Because if I can't do that, I can't film these videos anymore. So I am looking into a way to try delay the erosion process, because I'm not going to stop it, that's impossible. But I am looking into ways I can at the very least delay it, so I can keep filming these videos for as long as I possibly can. That is the goal here, and I'll just keep going until I can't no more. Or until I find something else more interesting. Both work.
Far across the creek lay a spot for refuge, to watch and wait against the rising tide. A new tent, a new haven.
You may be wondering, what's the plan here? What am I doing on this side of the creek? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing on this side of the creek. Not setting up a tent or anything in the campsite area, but you may remember, if you're an OG of the series, way back in those very early on episodes, I didn't quite know what I was doing with the series, but I was still doing something. That's the important part. I created the flood meter, shall we call it. The flood meter essentially, when it flooded, just kind of showed how high the water went when it did flood, if it got up this high. Now, obviously, when it floods, I can't get across to my bush encampment. So I'm limited to this side of the creek. But there's nothing really here to, cover from the rain and all that. So what I'm going to be doing today is a little just smaller shelter, just to kind of sit under if I need to, on this side when it does flood. So yeah, that is the general plan. Also, this is the campsite. Many months later, I haven't really been here in a while. Just thought I'd show you guys what it kind of looks like today. Nothing grand, but it's still here. Anyways, I'm going to build this new tent by the flood, whatever I called it. Flood meter, flood watch, something. And that's where I'll be building this new tent. Now, the flood meter's still here. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the few original things left of this place. But it's not the best thing. I don't really know why I made it. It doesn't ultimately do much, but it's history at this point. A lot of those original episodes were just weird creations, but it's fun. It's good memories. But today we're going to hopefully create something with a bit more purpose, and the first and only structure to really stay permanently, hopefully, on this side of the creek. A flood might wipe it out. They get pretty bad sometimes. The one I got at the start of this year, that was only a minor one, and well, you saw the damage that did. And if you didn't, go watch the episodes. They're good fun. Anyways, I think I've got a little idea in mind for where this one's going to go. So let's get this set up. Bit difficult because this is a bit of a smaller area that I'm working with here. But I'm sure, of course, we should have no problems getting this to piece together. Alright, here's the first one. I believe I have awoken a ant nest, you could say. Yeah, I have definitely awakened something right here, isn't that great? Essentially from this side, this is how things are looking right now. Got to stretch this out a bit, find something to put at the back to hold it back down. It's just going to be a little lean-to, nothing crazy, but it should work. Alright, this is essentially it, I know, it's not much. It definitely isn't anything special, but it was never going to be, because, as I've said, this thing could just easily be taken out by the floods, and that'd be it. So I've just set it up as a small little rain cover just for when I am here. This is in an area where the water kind of avoids unless it's a bad flood, so it's in probably the best area it could be. But yeah, look, this was never going to be something special, but I'm glad it exists. It may not be special, but it sure is functional. Well, as far as if this thing outlives any floods, we'll just have to see. So stay tuned, subscribe maybe, and we'll see what happens in the future. Speaking of floods, the wind is picking up, which means more storm clouds could be well and truly on the way.
Storms come and go till we prepare and adapt. That stays.
Now next up, there is a little something I want to do before we wait around and see the results of the new flood tent and see if it can survive a big load of rain. But there's a little sign we got a while back from the pathways that I'd like to kind of strap in a bit more just to ensure if the water does get up this high again, it ain't going anywhere. I'm going to use whatever zip ties I've got left to do so. I should hopefully keep it safe from any floods. Stop it from floating away, hopefully. Well, hopefully at least. We'll just have to see. I'll put all these zip ties together and we can get a pretty good idea of what the result is going to look like. Got a few holes we can nail, so we'll just do that to make sure that if the water does get that high up, it doesn't just float away up and out of the zippy tie. Alright, it's in. Definitely ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Well, until I move out at least, but that probably won't be for years. Have you seen the price of things these days? So that's probably not a concern for quite a while. Quick update on the garden from last episode. Well, actually it wasn't last episode, it was the episode before that. My graduation episode, shall we call it. That was a fun one. They're going good. I don't really know what else to say other than that they're going good. Now all that's left to do is just wait and see if the flood tent can survive its first storm and even potential flood. Alright, the storm has begun. As you can see, there's already water spilling off the tent. Starting to get a bit wet there. Apparently there's a roof leak. But overall, I am dry. No, I'm fine. This is the first time I've been down here in such heavy rain from memory at least. It's quite a storm coming through. It's only meant to get heavier from here. Now I'm going to have to try and run over at some point, because otherwise I'm going to get flooded over here, and this ain't somewhere I want to sleep tonight. And yes, I don't live down here. Oh, but the rain smells real good, I'll say that. Water's pouring off. Just dump that. I was in the middle of water in my garden, and then just hit out of nowhere. Overall, it seems pretty dry. It seems like there's a hole in the tent there. Overall, we're holding on pretty well. I'm gonna wait a bit, see if it holds back. If not, I'm gonna have to make a run for it and cross the creek before it fills up. Alright, it's been a while. I looked at the radar, it looks like it should be passing soon, hopefully. Now, those things can be wrong, so we'll just have to see. It is quite heavy. Let's see. Oh, it's quite chilly as well. But I do love me some good rain. It is honestly really peaceful down here. Just gonna move our plant here. Let it soak up some much needed water. You can see Jim over there. And you can't quite see it, but across the creek there is the flood tent. Off the water goes again. It's filling up everywhere. We're getting quite a build up of water here. If this doesn't go soon, I'm gonna have to make a run for it because that creek goes up quick when it wants to. Thinking of making a dash to take the creek quickly. Oh, it's freaking pouring. I think I'm gonna have to make a run for it. It's going up quick. We're gonna have to run. Otherwise we're stranded. Move that. There. Okay. Lights off. And we're going. Go, go, go. I can hear it flowing. Oh, I'm soaked. Okay, we're here. The sandbank's starting to disappear. Sorry you guys can't really see, I can't really do much about that. Okay. Alright, we're up at the gate. The watering stopped the recording at some point, I'm not sure when. Sorry about the quality, I cannot do much about that. Gonna take cover at the flood tent. Just quickly, I'm soaked, I'm saturated. And the water's just piling up everywhere. This really came out of nowhere. I'll take shelter under here. Okay, I'm under. Alright, cleaned up the camera a bit. I'm soaked. Absolutely saturated, but it works. It is keeping me covered from the rain. Thank goodness for that. It seems like it is starting to ease off, so I'm just going to sit here for a bit and just wait it out. You can see the tent across the creek. Oh, not really, it is getting a bit dark. I'm just going to lay low under here, wait for it to calm down a bit more. Alright, so the rain's eased off a lot. I have surface from the tent. And honestly, while being a simple design, it has held up real well. It kept me completely dry under there. This is a good little just waypoint if I ever need to make a quick dash, but it's still too heavily raining to get up to the house. This is also a good just waypoint in between. Honestly, I'm really happy with this new addition. Alright, so I'm down here a day after the rain event, and yeah, this creek crossing is eroding away a lot faster than I originally expected. So that's going to cause some major issues, and it really is, because you can see just where it's eroding away. Take a look right here. Just take a little look. All this here, this big chunk, just getting taken out. I'm standing on the bridge right now, so like that. And this area here has just been pretty much getting wiped, which is a bit of a concern for the future of the series and anything really, because once I can't get across, I can't make the videos, which is a bit concerning. And the effects are happening a lot quicker now than they've ever had, which is, I don't know why it's happening now. Second I start coming down here, it's like the entire creek's just getting rid of any way to cross, but I guess only time will tell. Alright, so we survived the flood. That's great. But if we come over here to the King Toast plant, if you've seen the earlier episodes, I say earlier episodes, it's more like the 90s, things like 96 or 97, 95, 94, somewhere around there. It's called Cloud Wars, watch that episode. But King Toast, he plants a plant in a pot, and I've been watering it by my little pond. And essentially, I've been making a little waterfall with it, filling up the pond, watering my pagoda moss, just making a little waterfall with it. So yeah, King Toast plant, it's been growing real well. It's somehow growing a pine tree in the pot, don't ask me how that happened. But yeah, just been slowly growing this pond area. I'm starting to get little plants growing along the sides of the pond from the water falling into it, so that's pretty cool too. Hoping to make this a nice lush area. And yeah, pond's also been doing well because of all the rain. That's been a thumbs up. So yeah, good news. You can stop now. Alright, so yeah, it's been a pretty good episode. The tent may have not looked like much, and I'm not an expert, don't get me wrong there, I'm horrible at doing things, but I still make them work. So I guess I'm also good, if that makes sense. And if you didn't like this, be sure to subscribe. No, what I meant to say was, if you like this, subscribe. And if you didn't like it, you probably shouldn't stick around, because that's not useful. But yeah, we did pretty good today. We've got that new tent. It's a good little waypoint, a good little area to shelter when it does flood. It's meant to be a bad storm season this year, so who knows? The entire tent's compound here might get swept away. Anything's possible. But yeah, pond is doing well, area's doing well, plants are doing well. Everything is going good as of right now, so hoping it stays that way. Well, I'm gonna end this episode. Alright, so we've had a bit of a catastrophe. The video was meant to end, but yeah, we're gonna add this on. There was a bit of a flood after the flood, if that makes sense. We had the storm and then it ended up flooding. And it's caused the tree branch over the bush plant to collapse. So yeah, it's pretty much on the edge of life and death right now. It's also taken out the chain. Yeah, can't really do much at the moment. Gonna put the chain back up, but it's getting late, and there's not much I can do about the branch at all. It's gonna fall, but thankfully, it doesn't look like it's gonna take out the main tent for now. My pond, I've never seen it so full in my life. Look at it, it's incredible. The pumpkins are still connected. Now the pumpkins are growing, for the most part, but they've got a bit of a beaten up, you could say. I'll try my best to bury the survivors, but I feel like we might only get one survivor of the batch because of the way they have been knocked around. But that's what it is. Sometimes half the dirt's missing. But yeah, it's what it is. So we'll get this chain back up then. The nail's still up, so we can still use that. So we don't have to waste any more other ones. Oh, there we go. That should hold. Yep, strong. And then we can simply just hang up the pumpkins because they're completely fine. Just like they were. You can see the damage a little bit more closer here. I don't know if that one's going to make it. This one has a solid chance, but we're going to have to put more dirt in there at some point. Oh yeah, it snapped a bit on the sides, but hopefully it still holds up. Might even put another little nail in there, actually. Yeah, it's back here. That's for the branch. Wow, not good. Doesn't look like it's going to crush the main tent for the time being, hopefully it stays that way. But the bush plant is hanging on the edge of life and death right now, so we can take this off, I reckon. So that gives it a bit of clearance. But the bush plant isn't going to make it at this rate. Hopefully this holds long enough for me to move it. I'm thinking by the pond. Hold in there, fella. Made it this far. Don't dial me now. Not to that. But yeah, this is where this episode is really going to end. Thank you guys so much for watching. Wasn't expecting this last minute bit of damage, so yeah, hoping to fix this as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.